had not been created. If this was a case of just mixed marriages between good men and wicked women, it is surprising that God should have issued the fire of judgment that he did. God took this stern action of wiping out the human race. Now, the only family that were left intact in order to re-establish, repopulate the new world was the family of Noah. Noah, we are told, was perfect in his generations. The word perfect does not mean, in this case, morally perfect, because we know from the story of Noah, and especially what happened after the flood, that Noah was not perfect. What it means is like a lamb for the paschal sacrifice, that lamb had to be without blemish, physically pure, without blemish. So it seems was the case of Noah, the only family that remained uncontaminated from these strange beings that appeared from space. The only line that was pure and clean from God's standpoint to start a new world and a new civilization. Jesus said, as in the days of Noah, so in the days of the coming of the Son of Man. Of all the patriarchs and prophets of the Old Testament, the key to prophecy above all others is Noah. And something happened in the days of Noah that was a distinctive characteristic of Noah's time that didn't happen before or after. Wars and famines and pestilences and natural disasters have always happened. But something happened in the days of Noah, and the most sinister and bizarre of all the things that happened was this intermarriage between the angelic race and the human race. And of course the mastermind behind it all was another angel, a fallen angel, Lucifer. Now we believe that as they came in those days, we may very well be on the edge of another invasion from outer space, that Satan will once again make another attempt, maybe the final assault on the human race, in order to wean men and women away from the worship of God. He has tried before, he will inevitably try again. And by seducing the human race, by sending these so-called entities from space, demonic beings, he will try to get people all over the world to worship him and to deprive God of the worship that is due to him. Fortunately, we know what the end result is going to be. But this final or omega assault that will come at the end of time may trigger the coming back of Jesus Christ to rescue his own. Satan has failed before, and the Bible predicts he will fail again.
No wonder New Yorkers looked up and said, you'd be saying, oh my God, too, if you saw this shot in the sports section with the understated caption, under ominous skies. Ominous. Shots came in from Harlem. Shots came in from Chelsea. Remind you of anything? The aliens' arrival in the movie Independence Day. At least New Yorkers didn't crash. They didn't flee. They did what any red-blooded New Yorker would do. They made home videos.
Yeah, you know, I gotta say, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
The scriptures must be fulfilled. And that means the prince of the power of the air will be cast down from heaven and will attempt to once and for all wrestle away control of the world from God and take it for his own wretched use. To the UFO enthusiasts, if you haven't yet stopped to consider not just merely what the nature of these beings are, but more to the point, their intentions. If you have not yet considered this at its core to be a spiritual question, then you have clearly rejected the relatively scant physical evidence that we have available to us. For these manifestations in the air are, up to this point, only that. Pope Benedict recently came out to assure all Catholics that it's okay to believe in space aliens, and they would be our, quote, brothers. But what the Pope is hoping for is that his followers will not ever set their eyes on the Word of God, for they would find a dire warning against this blasphemous and satanic lie that can be found in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 11, where we are told that God would send forth a strong delusion, which would likely fool a vast majority of the world, educated and uneducated, God-fearing and atheist alike.
My friends throughout the world, first I must thank the leaders of each of your countries who have graciously and in the interests of peace turned over all their broadcasting facilities to us to help avoid confusion in this crisis. Your national leaders have suggested that a state of martial law will be most helpful at this time, and we agree.
The visitors are not our friends. They've come to rape our planet and kill us. They are not who they appear to be.
My God.
Abduction is now a common theme in movies and television. According to a Roper poll in 2002, 1 in 5 Americans believe that abductions have taken place. For the so-called abductees, the memories of what they say they have experienced are deeply traumatic.
Between 6 and 8, I would assume.
Okay. They were fairly intense, or?
Yeah, they were very close together as well.
Right, okay.
4 years ago, Kelly Carr was a mother and housewife with no interest in spaceships or aliens. Now she's using technology to reconstruct images of her own encounter.
It does give the idea of the lights there, but, you know, the brightness of the light, it gives a good impression, except that the colour doesn't seem right.
Kelly's account starts in August 1993.
My husband and I were driving up to my girlfriend's place in Monbulk, which is in the Dandenong Mountains. We were driving on Belgrave Hallam Road, and it was just on dusk. I saw what I thought was round orange lights in the field. It looked unusual to me.
Later that night, retracing their route home, Kelly noticed something else unusual.
It's about a kilometre or so in front of us, about twice the height of the treetops. We could see this object, which at first I thought was a blimp. It had the shape of a blimp, but it was light. As we got closer to it, the light seemed to sort of separate, and it was actually these a row of round lights, and they were orange. It appeared like there was silhouettes standing in these round orange circles, like people, but you could only see the black outline. Well, I just said to my husband, look, there's people in there. And the minute I said that, it shot off to the left of us. Within 1 or 2 seconds, it was gone completely. About a kilometre or two further down the road, as we kept driving, I came across what, at least what I thought, was a screen or a wall of light across the road. And my heart started racing, and the adrenaline was sort of pumping through my body, and I'm thinking, we've just seen us back down there, we're in for, you know, a close encounter. Then, the next instant, nothing. We seem to have actually covered a fair distance that I don't even remember covering. It might have been possibly close to a kilometre, but I don't remember actually travelling. There was no light. There was, you know, there was nothing blocking the road.
Kelly says it wasn't until weeks later she remembered actually getting out of the car that night.
And I saw that there was another car